Isn't this the same institution that's got the second highest rate of death in all of Florida? Why don't we talk about that? Would you like to talk about that on camera? Is that why he didn't want to speak to me? Does anybody have any comments about that? About inmates that have died in your institution?
Down, man. Suitcase this, my cell phone number, charger, don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see your ass, you gon' leave airlifted. What's up, y'all? You already know, man. KFROG TV back in the house. Y'all go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get right into this one. I know y'all seen the thumbnail. A lot of people want to learn about prison. This channel right here teaches you prison, okay? You're going to learn about a prison today. And the specific prison you're going to learn about is Charlotte Correctional Institution, Punta Gorda, Florida. Alright, I decided to do this video because I spent a lot of time there, you know, and throughout a lot of time that I was there, there was a lot of deaths, you know, a lot of bad things went on at that institution, and it's been like that since the institution's been open, since 1989, all right? In 1992, one inmate got upset about a soccer game and shot 3 other inmates with a smuggled-in pistol. You know what I'm saying? It's been going on all the way since way back in the early 90s. Feel me? But the crazy thing is, what made me want to do this video is there's so much shit about it. So much shit about Charlotte. And I'm totally against the corrupted COs. I ain't with that beating inmates to sleep, stomping them to death, cuffing them in a cell, trying to cover up the truth. I'm not with none of that. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to let y'all see some clips so you can get a little feel of what type of video this is. And I'm going to go ahead and fall back and let them talk for now.
We're talking wrongful deaths, cover-ups, illegal activity inside CCI. This former prison inspector has just about seen it all. Tonight, we are finding out brand new information concerning the April 11th death of inmate Matthew Walker, all while gathering insight from this former prison inspector about how to weed out corruption inside the state's prison system.
Charlotte has always been talked about as a prison with bad luck.
Bad luck and grave consequences too. CCI is no stranger to officers being indicted following wrongful death investigations stemming from superiors who are supposed to be supervising their staff.
They've had more than their share of corruption.
This is Gary York, former DOC prison inspector who has spent years uncovering crime inside Florida correctional institutions. He spent countless hours inside this prison in Charlotte County, a facility he says has had major problems with officers using excessive force.
And unfortunately, those type of events seem to still be going on now, decades later.
Only NBC2 confirmed through sources that several officers are on leave following the death of this man, Matthew Walker, beaten while handcuffed until dead, we're told. Now we've learned one officer has been fired from CCI, Lieutenant Tyler Triplett. The state confirmed they terminated Triplett, but won't tell us if it's connected to this death case. Sources say the lieutenant provoked Walker the night of his death. The officer had no comment when we went to his home today.
A lot of officers at that prison have unfortunately lost their jobs because of excessive force.
York says this could end up being an example of 3 things he says officers aren't learning.
When force should be used, how force should be used, and when force should be stopped.
Many times, York claims force continues by CCI officers long after it should, and it's turned deadly in the past, most notably the Edwards case in 1997, an inmate beaten over a period of 5 days.
Strapped down to a metal bunk with leather restraints, bloody from head to toe with bruises all over his body.
These violent, disturbing cases are something York says could easily be prevented by implementing a system that several agencies already practice. York says there needs to be better hiring and background checks. Unlike most Florida Sheriff's Office employees, prison workers don't have to take psychological or polygraph exams. He says that's an issue, and the problems that follow end up costing taxpayer money in the long run. and leaving corrupt higher-ups in charge.
How can an honest officer work in an environment like that? We've got to clean out those people from the prison system.
The Florida Department of Corrections won't tell us why they let that lieutenant go, although sources say he provoked Matthew Walker April 11th inside his cell. The agency also will not give us any information about officers on leave. We are reporting in Punta Gorda. Lucas Seiler, NBC.
All right, so now that you have a feel of it a little bit, you see that this shit's been going on. You know, I'm gonna put my 2 cents into it. Now, when I was in there, through the time I stayed there, there was like 20-something deaths. Feel me? Now, a lot of them, they put as natural causes. That ain't what happened. No institution wants to make it look like they got a drug problem going on within the institution. No institution wants to make it look like they got gang problems going on within the institution. And no institution wants to make it look like the officers be beating inmates to death and killing inmates. Feel me? So they're gonna rule it as natural causes. All right? One particular, when I was in there, he came to Charlotte CI on a Tuesday, overdosed from heroin on a Sunday in D dorm. The specific dorm that I was in the majority of my videos, y'all see me in the open bay. That was D dorm. See, they ruled it as an accident. Yeah, I guess it was an accident. You feel me? But it ain't never get out there what really happened. They ain't never really, you know, try to solve the issue, which it continued on and continued on. I had people passed away while I was there that was in confinement. While I was in confinement, that passed away due to gut rot. They got gut rot from eating certain patties. The patties they had made these gentlemen get gut rot, and they started vomiting and green stuff. And then once they started vomiting, it was too late. It was like mold. You feel me? Natural causes, they'll write it off as. Natural causes, they'll write it off as. That's all they do. You feel me? So, I just think it's crazy because they done gotten away with so much. You feel me? And it don't stop. It's always been like that. And it's going to continue to be like that. You feel me? Anytime something happens to an inmate, 9 times out of 10, that shit ain't never seen on cameras. When there's cameras. But anytime something happens to an officer from an inmate, 9 times out of 10, that was seen on camera though. You get what I'm saying? So, I just want to let y'all get another little feel of the type of institution that I was in, recording KFROG TV.
Another suspicious death of an inmate at the Charlotte Correctional Institution. There are now 7 deaths under investigation there.
NBC2's Dave Elias has done some extensive reporting on this prison, and he was the first to confirm this latest death. He is live in our studio with the new information.
Yeah, Peter, Robert Peterkin was found dead in Charlotte Correctional Institution on June 4th after sources inside the prison alerted me today to his death. The state confirmed they were conducting a criminal investigation. Robert Peterkin is the 5th inmate whose death has sparked an investigation at the Charlotte Correctional Facility. Peterkin was serving a life sentence for murder since 2002 after he killed someone in Manatee County. The inmate was found inside CCI on June 4th. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement immediately began a criminal investigation. CCI is among several Florida prisons being scrutinized for suspicious deaths. Damian Foster and Matthew Walker were killed in CCI more than a year and a half ago. Last month, Walker's sister, May Atkins, told us she's still looking for answers.
I want to know how can they fully investigate his murder and without even talking to the family.
Shortly after Walker's death, 10 guards were fired for criminal misconduct. All but one of them given their jobs back when the state failed to prove they did anything wrong. Now, 2014 saw the deadliest year on record in Florida prisons. 346 inmates died behind bars. Those 7 death investigations at CCI have occurred over the last several years. They could range from natural causes to murder.
What else is crazy is that guy right there. He died before the white boy that I showed y'all that overdosed in D-dorm, the dorm I was in. But that white boy that overdosed was almost 10 people after that incident right there. You know, people tried to protest against this. People literally went to the compound and wanted to get, you know, footage, wanted to get, you know, like, they wanted to start investigating it. How are all these unsolved deaths just getting covered up like this left and right? You know, so people actually physically went there. And when they went there, they were harassed by the officers. All right? Literally harassed by officers. Exact officers that was there while I was there that know who I am. You feel me? That have put me in confinement. That I've seen do things to inmates that they shouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? And they literally harassed this gentleman that was there, you know, that wanted to do a protest against it all. You feel me? Like, they stick together, you know. At Charlotte CI, you're down this long road, man, in the middle of the woods. They stick together, whether they on duty or off duty. You feel me?
Why are you videotaping me? Why are you videotaping me?
You're the one that got out in front of my camera.
Why are you videotaping me in my car? Why are you getting the license plate off of my tag? Who are you?
I'm a member of the media, sir.
Right here, and I'm going to ask you who you are.
I'm a member of the media, sir.
You're a member of the media.
Yes, I am.
You need to erase whatever you got from me, about me, right now. If I see it anywhere, I will sue.
Okay. Sure thing.
You do not have my permission to do anything with this tape.
Okay.
Erase it.
No, I'm fine, thank you. What are you doing?
You're videotaping me. What are you doing?
I'm just out in public taking pictures. You're kind of blocking the road there.
I can do that.
You can?
Yes, I can.
That's a nice truck there, man. You must be making the big bucks. Out in public taking pictures.
It's illegal.
It's illegal to take pictures in public? I don't think that's the case. I'm a Freedom fan.
Freedom fan.
I'm a Freedom fan. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah? So what do you do for work?
I don't sit around and videotape people.
You don't? Hey man, don't touch my stuff, please.
Don't videotape me.
Well, you're out in public, man.
Okay, well, don't videotape me. We're going to have a conversation. Don't videotape
Hey
me.
man, don't touch my stuff, please. Thank you. If you want to call the sheriff's office, that's fine, but please don't touch my stuff.
I don't want to call the sheriff's office.
You don't?
I just don't want to sit here and have a conversation and you videotape me.
Well, then don't have it with me. That's simple. How that works.
Okay.
How you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right. It's Captain Bush.
How you doing, Captain Bush?
All right. I was just told that we had somebody out here filming, so I just wanted to come out and make sure everything was all right, and make sure you don't go on institutional property. And
Did anybody say that I get one on the institution's property?
No, nobody said you were on institution property at all.
Two guys came out here in black trucks, and one of them almost, like he brought the truck, just the grill, like right up to my face, and then he tried to take the camera from me, and he said he didn't want to talk about, anything on camera. Does he have something to hide?
I'm not sure who you're talking about, so.
I'm going to assume it's probably someone that works in that prison.
I'm not sure. I just had a phone call saying there was somebody filming outside the institution, just making sure it wasn't on property grounds. From what I can tell right now, you're not doing anything wrong, so I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that, not to film onto the grounds. And
oh well, I am going to film. I am going to film the grounds, and I'm going to film anything that I can see
from here.
From here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, it didn't seem like it was fine the way that those two people approached me, and then I see them both go into your institution, and he was talking on the phone, like he was talking to someone. I'm going to assume that's you.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure who it was that you spoke to, but
you have no idea who reported that I was out here filming?
That's not relevant right now.
It's not?
No, sir.
I mean, if it's not, then why are you out here talking to me?
Like I said, you're not doing anything wrong from what I can tell. Just want to make sure you keep it.
Are you sure about that? I mean, the way you came out here, it would seem like something was wrong or amiss.
It's just our duty to make sure that everything's kosher with our institution. This is what we're in charge of, and we have to make sure that everything's fine. So,
do you think it's kosher that there's a protest throughout your institutions about the brutality and the slavery and the unexplained deaths that go on in your institution? Isn't this the same institution that's got the second highest rate of death in all of Florida? Why don't we talk about that, Mr. Bush? Would you like to talk about that on camera? Is that why he didn't want to speak to me? Does anybody have any comments about that? About inmates that have died in your institution? Does someone want to speak to me about that matter? No? You guys have a good day. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. I'm not one of your inmates. You can sit in there and bully and beat me to death in a cell and then hide all the evidence so you don't get prosecuted. Have a good day, guys. Enjoy. When I score out 44 points, I'll let you know so I can visit this place. Assholes. I'm sorry? Just out here taking pictures in public. Yes, sir. Because I want to. Oh, they already made me aware. You have a good day, man.
Who made you aware? The prisoner?
Oh, they came out here and told me.
Is that what you're filming?
I'm just filming in public.
Don't go past that forward. I promise you.
See what I'm saying? Now look at that. Look at what they did to that man. Blocked his camera with the trucks. Tried to take his camera from him. came out there in the truck like a goon squad. Same way they pulled up like that is the same way they come on foot on a compound for one inmate. You know what I'm saying? If that guy didn't have a camera on him, ain't no telling what they would have did. And then all them dudes would have had the same story against that man who didn't have a camera. You feel me? But look how they all go to acting weird and stopping their vehicle and backing up and getting out, wondering why they recording and all that, because they know there's so much dirt and so much things covered up throughout the years that they can't let nothing slip up. You feel me? And the reason I'm putting it out there is I got a voice. You feel me? I got a voice, and maybe it can get heard through my channel. Because I know some of them people. You feel me? I'm not going to say the specific ones. You feel me? But I knew some of them people. So it's crazy the things they get away with and nothing happens. It's just another inmate, right? That's it. He's just an inmate. It don't really matter. That's him. He ain't nothing. He broke the law. So we can do this to them and cover it up. Even though what they're doing is breaking the law. You feel me? So I'm totally against this shit that they've been doing to inmates for years. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Charlotte's always had a name for itself. You feel me? And it's to the point now to where the show just came out on Netflix. I Am a Killer. And they speak on the dude. He was from Charlotte, CI.
The new Netflix show called I Am a Killer features an inmate who is serving time right here in Southwest Florida. James Patterson was a former Charlotte Correctional Institution inmate who killed his cellmate to get on death row. 4 in Your Corner Sam Sosa exploring what about this facility he says drove him to kill.
A new show on Netflix gives an audience of millions a peek at the brain of a killer.
I honestly say that you don't understand death.
The very first episode tells the story of James Robertson, an inmate who gave up on life at the Charlotte Correctional Institution nearly a decade ago. He got here for burglary and assault charges, but stayed longer after brawls with other inmates. After earning several other charges behind bars, he was facing pretty much the rest of his life at CCI, ultimately ending up in close management, otherwise known as solitary confinement.
Got to the point where I said, man, I'm going on death row.
Robertson tells the interviewer the guards humiliated him, claiming the conditions were inhumane and he wanted to get on death row and die. He says that's why he strangled his cellmate to death with a pair of socks. Robertson was sentenced to death in 2012. He isn't the first to bring up conditions at the Southwest Florida prison. In 2014, family of inmate Matthew Walker accused prison guards of beating him to death. None of those guards were charged in connection to his death.
It's very sad. I don't think that we give enough priority to mental health issues.
Janet Hoffman, an advocate for prison reform in Southwest Florida, says this highlights the need for mental health services in Florida prisons. She feels money dedicated to those services isn't enough.
Our budget is such that we don't have enough guards. They are not paid enough to stay there, and there's not enough money to thoroughly train them.
Well, Sam says James Robertson is serving out the rest of his days at Florida State Prison on death row.
You got to look at it, man. Everything happens for a reason, okay? If you're an inmate and you're locked up in prison and you constantly see these officers beating these inmates, anytime they go with them, they get beat. Anytime they cuff up or they get put in restraints, they get beat. So it makes you not trust, you know what I'm saying, to get yourself put in restraints. It makes me not want to cuff up. I don't trust it. I see what you do to all these other inmates. You feel me? And that's the same shit that be happening. But as soon as you turn around and you react first, like, man, I know they're gonna hit me. I know they're gonna try to whoop me. So I'm gonna hit one. I'm gonna knock one of them out. I'm gonna just knock one of these COs dead out and teach their ass a lesson. I'm gonna give one a good swing because I know they're gonna get on my ass regardless. But as soon as that happens, guess what they're doing next? pressing charges.
A Charlotte County correctional officer was treated after being attacked by an inmate. This is according to investigators. The department says Omar Bleachington struck the officer in the face with a closed fist. Staff responded appropriately, and the inmate was subdued. The officer received treatment from an outside medical facility for the injuries. Bleachington is now facing additional battery charges while behind bars.
Why they do shit like that? Because they can get away with it. That's why. You would not believe how powerful these dudes are with a pen. Just a pen alone. I've told it in my stories before that I had a lieutenant tell me one time with a pen that he can get me 20 years just from this pen right here. And that's what they do. They'll literally say that they'll come out there 10 deep and start stomping you. And then next thing you know, they'll put in their paperwork that you hit them. Never even touched them, never nothing. They came out there and stomped you, banged you all up and everything. So they wanted to whoop you so bad that they whooped you. And then they wrote that you hit them on paperwork to get you more time. So you got time and an ass whooping on the house. Because these officers want to lie on paperwork. You feel me? But it ain't just about that. It's about how many deaths they done covered up. Okay? You can't rule all of them natural causes. You can't rule all of them, oh, it was a natural cause. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of families around the world that had people in there that passed away, which I had a couple reach out to me. You know, that's what made me want to do the video. Is it shocked me that people I knew that things happened to in there, loved ones reached out to me and wanted me to speak on it because nothing has been done and never looked into it against the officers. This is against the officers, you feel me?
Family members tell NBC2 it never should have happened. Another inmate dies inside the Charlotte Correctional Institution, one of 6 death investigations underway right now at CCI. Robert Peterkin died in June under mysterious circumstances.
Family members were told it was a suicide. They don't believe it. NBC2's Dave Elias has been covering the prison controversies for more than 2 years.
Yeah, that's right, Peter. Kelly, Robert Peterkin's death comes on the heels of a grand jury investigation into inmate Matthew Walker's death that was labeled tragic, senseless, and avoidable. Tonight, Peterkin's family says his death was unnecessary.
And exact words were, "It will not be what it appears to be."
Cecilia Martin describes what her brother Robert Peterkin told her after being transferred to CCI.
I was in shock.
Even more shocked when she received a call from the warden last month.
And he says, well, I can't give any details, but all I can tell you that it was a unsurvivable injury.
At the hospital, the family was told Peterkin committed suicide.
And I was crying and I'm saying, what happened? Please tell me what happened. Because I knew he wouldn't do this.
Cecilia and her sister Maureen would never hear from her brother about what happened.
I don't think we'll ever know.
Prison officials told them Peterkin and 2 other inmates reported contraband being smuggled in.
He went to the cart and found 2 cell phones. They were handcuffed and taken confinement.
Doris Rennie's son, Don, also an inmate, was with Peterkin when the phone was found. Guards placed both men in shower stalls while they searched their cells.
But what happened in 13 minutes? That they come back and he's dead.
Prison rules call for removing belts and shoestrings from prisoners so they can't harm themselves.
My son made a comment to me, by the way, Mom, my shoes are sitting right here next to me, and I still have my laces.
Doris can't talk to her son now. He's in lockdown after finding the cell phone she believes was being smuggled in by guards.
I asked if he could have a phone call because of his father's condition, and they said no.
His father, Tom, dying from kidney failure.
I want to see my son. It's a must.
Also a must is to find out why Peterkin died after reporting contraband at one of Florida's most troubled prisons.
What can happen? It's just horrible. But I always ask God to protect them.
Now, I've repeatedly called the Department of Corrections pushing for answers about the death. They refuse to answer any of those questions. They say it's under investigation. So are the deaths of 200 inmates across the state.
It's such a small world that people would know, hey, did you know my uncle? Or hey, did you know my son? Did you know my cousin? Did you know my dad? You know, things like that. My brother. Feel me? And it's a small world. So I figured that maybe my channel can get it out there because I have a voice. The family members don't. You feel me? So, just wanted to give y'all insight of what it's like going to Florida State Prison. What it's like. It ain't just Charlotte this goes on at. It goes on everywhere. But Charlotte's very famous for making the news about it. You know what I'm saying? So famous to where they cover everything up. They don't want nothing out. They don't want nothing leaking to the press. They don't want nothing in the newspaper. They don't want nothing going online. They don't want nothing hitting the news. To where they had it locked down, so secured to where, you know, catching a body on innocent people who are just inmates that are in there, you know, doing the time. They're in there doing their time and get bodied behind it. But these officers have no problem doing it to you and covering it up. Like, it's something so small, so simple to them that they do it and get away with it like that. And then the ones who do survive, that are all banged up and everything, they'll hide you in confinement until you heal up. They won't let no mail come in, no mail go out. Your family comes up there, anybody and everybody is in on it. Your family calls up there, hey, I want to check on my son and see how my, oh, he's in confinement, man. That's all I can tell you. That person that answered the phone knows, oh, if their loved ones call, say this. The warden's on all of it is on top of it. It's a war within. That's exactly what it is. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. That's why people that want to know about prison, KFROG TV gonna teach you the real deal about prison. Your life isn't promised. It's easy getting in, it's hard getting out. And like I said, you can go there with 20 years and come home. Or you can go there with a year and a day and die and not make it. That's just how it is. That's the way the cards are dealt sometimes. You feel me? So I just wanted to throw this little video out there to see what's happened with all these unexplained bodies at Charlotte Correctional Institution.